usual, we begin with remarks from the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, after which we will take questions from members of the media who are here with us this morning. Please welcome the Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you. Morning. It's a wonderful day to be alive. Thank the Lord for today. I want to say good morning to the members of the media, of course my colleagues right here, and senior public officers, fellow Dominicans, and everyone joining us today. Thank you for being here. This morning, I wish to provide an update on several matters of national importance, including the progress being made on key government initiatives and developments that are of interest to the people of Dominica. I wish to provide the public with an update on the progress of the Dominica International Airport project. The construction of the International Airport continues to advance satisfactorily across multiple work areas. Earthworks and culvert construction are now approximately 78% complete. Runway and taxiway construction has reached 60% completion, while significant progress is also being made on the passenger terminal, cargo facility, air traffic control tower, fuel farms, and other critical infrastructure. I wish to reassure everyone that all activities related to aggregate extraction and processing for the project are being undertaken within the framework of the laws and regulations of the Commonwealth of Dominica. The government remains committed to ensuring that environmental safeguards are respected. In this regard, approvals have recently been granted by the Physical Planning Division for the Stonefield aggregate site and the Stonefield crushing plant, that is on May 20th, 2026. I want to reiterate that there is no mining operation taking place and no plans for copper mining or any similar activity. The purpose of the quarry is solely to provide construction aggregate required for the airport project. The government continues to follow the established regulatory processes, including environmental assessments and oversight by the relevant authorities. The International Airport remains one of the most transformative projects in our nation's history. It is creating employment, stimulating economic activity, and laying the foundation for expanded tourism, trade, investment, and opportunity for future generations. We remain confident in the progress being made, and we will continue to keep the public informed as works advance. And of course, I want to thank the staff of the Office of the Prime Minister, the Airport Development Company, the contractor, all of the workers, and of course MC for the continued partnership on this very important project. In respect to geothermal, the geothermal power plant remains in its commissioning phase, which means testing, adjustments, and system integration work are still ongoing before the plant enters full commercial operation. Dominica is the first nation in this region to bring geothermal energy onto its national grid. And being first means we are walking a path no one before us has walked. I do not minimize the inconvenience these outages have caused, but I ask for our people's understanding, as the teething difficulties of these recent weeks are the cost of doing something new. But when this work is complete, we will have lower electricity rates, greater reliability, and a Dominica that is no longer at the mercy of imported fuel to the extent to which we did before. Since generation began in March, some technical issues associated with testing and integrating new infrastructure have contributed to service interruptions. The good news is that these issues are being identified, addressed, and resolved as part of the commissioning process. I must point out that in addition to the geothermal power plant itself, commissioning is also underway for the associated substation, the 33 kV underground transmission line, the Fokole substation, and the Fokole battery energy storage system, all of which must operate seamlessly as an integrated power system. Government remains confident in the project and its long-term benefits. While we acknowledge the inconvenience caused by recent outages, commissioning a project of this scale requires rigorous testing to ensure that when the plant enters commercial operation, it does so safely, reliably, and efficiently. So I want to thank as the public for its continued understanding and to thank them for their patience. I want to use this forum to draw attention to a major project launched last week because I think it is a huge opportunity for our people. The Dominica Community Resilience Enhancement Project, known as DOMCREP, is an $70.2 million investment in the resilience of our people, our communities, and our agricultural sector. This project represents another significant milestone in Dominica's resilience journey. Over the years, we have invested heavily in resilient housing, roads, bridges, healthcare facilities, schools, renewable energy, and disaster preparedness systems. DOMCREP builds on these efforts by ensuring that the people most vulnerable to the impacts of climate change are better equipped to adapt, recover, and thrive. Funded by the Green Climate Fund and implemented in partnership with the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, the project will directly benefit more than 8,000 people across 8 vulnerable communities. More than 520 farmers and agro-processors will receive support through climate-smart technologies, irrigation systems, greenhouses, and other interventions designed to strengthen food security and increase agricultural productivity, and of course, put more money in the pockets of the farmers. The project will also improve water security, strengthen emergency preparedness, and enhance community resilience to extreme weather events. I want to encourage residents of the participating communities, farmers, agro-processors, community organizations, women, and young people to actively engage in the opportunities that will become available through this project. Campbell, Colliho, Kulibistri, Pishley, Bacatel, Good Hope, Petit Soufrière, and Saint-Sauveur are the communities which will directly benefit from these $70.2 million. The success of DOMCREP will depend on the willingness of communities to participate, collaborate, and take ownership of these initiatives. DOMCREP is an investment in people. It is an investment in food security, economic opportunity, and community resilience. More importantly, it is an investment in the future where our communities are stronger, more self-reliant, and better prepared to face the challenges of a changing climate. The Government of Dominica is also working with the 5 Cs on 2 proposals totaling $187 million, and some of those funds will go directly towards addressing a lot of slope edge failures, especially in the Bells area. And of course, we will speak to those details as time gets closer with the finalization of these projects. But $187 million for 2 interventions. This past week, the government engaged citizens, businesses, community organizations, and other stakeholders across the country as part of the consultation process leading up to the preparation of a 2026-2027 national budget. I wish to thank everyone who participated and shared the perspectives, concerns, and recommendations. These consultations remain an important part of our commitment to ensuring that the budget reflects the realities, aspirations, and priorities of the Dominican people. We're preparing this budget at a time when countries around the world continue to face significant economic uncertainty. The effects of global inflation, supply chain disruptions, geopolitical tensions, and climate-related challenges continue to place pressures on households and governments alike. Dominica is not immune to these realities. However, we're approaching this budget with a clear understanding that our responsibility is to protect the most vulnerable, support economic growth, create opportunities for people, and at the same time, maintain fiscal responsibility and stability. Citizens can expect a budget that seeks to balance prudence with compassion. We remain committed to measures which help ease the cost of living burden on families, support job creation, strengthen agriculture and food security, invest in the healthcare and education, expand opportunities for young people, and continue the infrastructure investments that are transforming communities and strengthening national resilience, and policies which can make doing business in Dominica more efficient and profitable. We will carefully assess the range of concessions and support measures currently in place and determine what additional interventions may be necessary and sustainable. We must also continue to strengthen the country's economic foundations and secure the resources needed to finance our development agenda. One of the key pillars supporting our investments has been the Citizenship by Investment program. As you are aware, the program has been a beneficial source of financing for housing, healthcare, education, climate resilience, infrastructure, and social programs, and private sector expansion and investments that directly impact and benefit the people of Dominica. We are committed to protecting the program's integrity and reputation, while ensuring that it continues to serve the national interest. To this end, moving forward, we will include requirements for successful applicants to visit Dominica in person and spend time in the country, providing them with a greater appreciation of our people, culture, and development aspirations. So, visiting will be mandatory. You will have to come to Dominica to receive your renewed passport as a citizen. We are also examining additional initiatives designed to deepen engagement between economic citizens and the country, while ensuring that the program meets evolving international standards and expectations. The strengthening of the CBI programs is a regional reality, not a Dominica problem. We are moving in step with our neighbors to protect a program that has built homes, hospitals, and schools for people, and a major source of funding for agriculture and small and medium-sized enterprises. More details on these measures will be announced in the upcoming budget. The national budget will therefore be presented within the context of a broader strategy aimed at improving the quality of life of our citizens and creating a more secure and prosperous future for all Dominicans, and positioning our people to take better advantage of all the major investments that this government continues to put in place in our country. As I end, I want to remind you of the importance of preparation as the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season gets underway. I encourage every Dominican to take the necessary steps to prepare themselves, their families, homes, and businesses for potential weather events. The government has been actively preparing for the season. The National Emergency Planning Organization, NEPO, recently convened to review national preparedness measures, assess the readiness of key agencies, and coordinate response plans. Shelters have been inspected, emergency supplies reviewed, and relevant agencies remain engaged in preparedness and response activities. While significant investments have been made in strengthening our resilience through improved infrastructure, housing, emergency shelters, and disaster preparedness systems, preparedness remains a shared responsibility. Every household and every business should have an emergency plan, secure important documents, review emergency supplies, and stay informed through official channels. Forecasts are only guidance, and it takes just one storm to have a significant impact. Let us approach this season with vigilance, responsibility, and a commitment to looking out for each other. I thank you. I will invite the Honorable Minister of Health, who will brief the nation on a few health matters. Thank you so much.
Honorable Prime Minister Skerrit, Honorable Ministers and Parliamentary colleagues, Cabinet Secretary, Financial Secretary, Permanent Secretaries, invited guests, members of the media, viewers and listeners across Dominica and on various platforms, pleasant good morning to all of you. Permit me at the very outset to acknowledge the stellar leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister. Despite the global challenges that we face, we are able to fulfill a serious developmental agenda, and this is only achieved through vision, absolute commitment, and discipline. I'm pleased to provide an update on some recent developments within the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Social Services. Firstly, we are very delighted to welcome back Medical Mission International, MMI, whose team has arrived in Dominica for a 2-week mission. During this period, we will undertake approximately 60 eye surgeries, working closely alongside our team of 3 ophthalmologists and the dedicated staff of the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. This mission builds on the success of the first MMI mission last year, during which some 80 sight-restoring surgeries were completed. We extend sincere appreciation to MMI and the Rotary Club of Dominica for facilitating this partnership, and all members of our local health team for their continued commitment towards improving access to specialized care for our people. Secondly, I am pleased to report another significant milestone in the advancement of healthcare in Dominica. Just 2 weeks ago, our medical team successfully completed the country's first brain tumor surgery using our own local resources and personnel. The patient was diagnosed with an aggressive brain tumor, and surgery was carried out successfully. This achievement follows the first successful spinal surgery performed earlier this year and demonstrates the tremendous progress being made in strengthening the capacity and capability of our healthcare system throughout the expansion of neurosurgical services. It speaks to the investments we have made in our people, our infrastructure, and our partnerships, allowing more Dominican patients to receive complex care at home, surrounded by their families and their very own support systems. As we strengthen specialized services, we are also reinforcing the foundation of our healthcare system through primary healthcare. Over the past month, 16 nurses have been employed across the public health sector, and 3 additional doctors have been assigned to primary healthcare services to enhance prevention, promotion, early detection, and timely intervention. Importantly, this effort continues. On Monday, the ministry will be interviewing an additional 15 nurses as we seek to further expand our human resource capacity and ensure that communities throughout Dominica have access to quality healthcare services closer to their homes. As we continue to invest in our medical professionals and our clinicians, our simple but very profound ask is that they continue to exude the very tenets of compassion and care so we can continue to have better outcomes for the people of Dominica. I'm also pleased to advise that 2 of our physicians, Dr. St. Luce and Dr. Abel Seaman, will soon travel to the People's Republic of China to undergo specialized training in hyperbaric medicine. Dominica is already equipped with a hyperbaric chamber, and we have been collaborating closely with the Ministry of Tourism and the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association in preparation for the expansion of these services. Hyperbaric medicine will support our dive tourism industry through the treatment of decompression sickness, also known as the bends, while also enhancing our ability to provide advanced wound care and promote healing for patients with complex medical conditions, particularly our diabetics with chronic ulcers. In the coming weeks, the Dominica Hospitals Authority will also commence a series of targeted infrastructure improvements at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital aimed at enhancing patient comfort, accessibility, and resilience. These works will include relocating the building offices closer to the main entrance and the cashier's office to improve convenience for patients and visitors. We will address affected areas by water ingress during periods of heavy rains and upgrade bathroom facilities within patient rooms to improve drainage, functionality, and hygiene standards. These improvements demonstrate our ongoing commitment to ensuring that patients receive care in a safe, comfortable, and efficient environment. Finally, many members of the public would be aware that the MRI service has been temporarily unavailable. The replacement part required for these repairs experienced delays in transit due to disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz. I am pleased to advise that the part has now arrived in Dominica, and we are awaiting the arrival of a team from General Electric to complete the installations and address a few minor technical matters. Based on the latest advice received, we are cautiously optimistic that the MRI services will be restored next week. We have also experienced some disruptions with our blood analyzer services. A new machine has already been ordered and is en route to Dominica. It is currently in Trinidad and Tobago, and we expect it to arrive next week also. These developments reflect our continued investment in healthcare, our commitment to expanding specialist services while strengthening primary healthcare, and our determination to provide the Dominican people with increasingly advanced access and people-centered medical care. Thank you.
Our thanks to the Honorable Laville for these important and I dare say timely updates on the developments at health sector and at the island's main hospital. We also thank the Honorable Prime Minister for his presentation prior. At this point, we will, as usual, take questions. I believe we will begin. With Mr. Carlisle John Baptist, representing Nature Isle News. Please go ahead.
Okay, some countries have issued statements urging their citizens to avoid all non-essential travel to Cuba because the country continues to experience challenges affecting electricity, fuel availability, transportation, and access to basic goods and services. Question: do we expect the Dominica government to soon issue such a call? Next. Dominica has a number of students studying in Cuba at present. We are aware of the hard economic situation now taking place in Cuba. What is the position of your government in relation to the US-led economic situation in Cuba? And can you give us an update on the status of Dominican students studying in Cuba? My second question, no, we didn't leave Cuba, so that's one. We are aware of the situation regarding Gregor Nassif being denied a US visa by the US Embassy in Barbados. Did that come as a surprise to you, Prime Minister? And also, do you share the views of Mr. Nassif that the decision not to grant him a US visa is linked to the US position on Dominica and Antigua? And are you aware of any categories of applicants who are still being approved, that is for visa, and what official communication has the government received from the US government regarding the specific concerns that led to these restrictions? And my final question in this round is, no matter, in light of that, is Dominica ready for the assessment by the US government, which, from all indications, should be June 30, 2026, as it relates to the visa assessment? Thank you very much. No, Matt, you have to synchronize.
In regards to the first question about travel advisory, there's no need for us to do so at this time. That's one. Secondly, we acknowledge the challenges that the Cuban government and people are experiencing. We continue to be in touch with our students. Our students continue to attend university, school. There's been no disruption in that activity. And both the ministry and the embassy continue to remain open to address any challenges which our students may encounter from time to time. So, notwithstanding the challenges, students continue to be in school, and we are keeping them there as long as practicable to allow them to continue to be at university. The second issue regards to the denial of the visa from Mr. Nassif. I'm not in a position to comment on this. I do not know the circumstance. I'm not part of the Consular Department of the United States government. This is not a denial of entry into Dominica, which I can speak to. So that question is better addressed to the United States government and the Consular Department in Barbados as to what reasons they arrive at denying the visa. I mean, the reality is There are hundreds of Caribbean people, if not thousands, who have been denied visas over time. Not only during the Trump administration, but throughout the existence of the U.S. and people applying for visas. I don't think one should make a big issue of anyone being denied a visa to any country. We deny Haitians visas to come to Dominica. We deny other citizens coming to visa. Personally, from an ideological standpoint, I do not believe in visas. I believe that the world needs to get rid of visas completely and go back to the original way of how the world used to be, that people used to travel unhindered. But there are realities now that countries are faced with from a security standpoint and other considerations. And therefore, countries choose to put restrictions that they believe is in their national interests. And as a Prime Minister of Dominica, I respect the United States position on this. That is, it's not for me to agree or disagree with them. This is in their national interest as they determine it to be. And we're not going to engage in a quarrel over that or this issue. Because if you look at it, there are many countries that deny people entry from time to time. And this is where it is. So I think, well, I'm not in a position to respond to the specifics in respect to any individual not having been issued a visa. The other one with regards to the assessment by the U.S. in respect to the review of the ban on Dominicans. We continue to engage the U.S. on this. There's almost a weekly engagement with the State Department by our ambassador. I too am in touch with the U.S. government, especially through the U.S. Embassy in Barbados on a regular basis. As late as yesterday, I was in touch with the Charge d'Affaires at the U.S. Embassy, engaging on this issue because the Secretary of State of the United States of America, when we met with him in St. Kitts and Nevis, had indicated that around June or thereabout, they will have a review of the situation and make a determination. But one also has to be pragmatic with these things and recognize that we all recognize that the United States has bigger fishes to fry at this time, and countries like ours, are small sprats in a deep ocean, and so we hope that some time will be allowed for a review of the position. We maintain that there was no real justification to impose this in Dominica in the first place. But it has been done, and our urge and continued engagement in the United States in a respectful manner is for there to be a favorable revisitation of that position, and that the status quo is reinstated. So we'll continue to engage on this, and any new developments will certainly inform the nation as time goes by. But this is a decision entirely in the hands of the United States government. We believe that based on our engagement with them, we would have taken all of the necessary actions to address any perceived or real concerns which they would have had. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Two questions. The first round here. Prime Minister, June 16th.
June
16th. Year since the collapse of the Dominica Grammar School roof. Is there a report of the cost, sir? And what is the cost, and who is responsible for the rebuilding of the auditorium? That's one question. The second question has to do with possibility of elections. Even though you have the constitutional right to call elections at any time, would you invite international observers to an election with the old list, or can the confirmation process be completed in October, given all the problems that's being experienced at this time?
That's right. I want to go get confirmation. Everybody wants to go elections, one confirmation.
go and confirm, go and register. People don't want to take on their responsibility, they want to take on the Prime Minister's responsibility. Go and confirm, encourage people to confirm. You know, it's their right to confirm. They have a duty to get confirmed. They have an obligation to their country and to determine who they want to be their government, who they want to be their pal rep. You know, go and confirm. This is where we should be using our time and our resources to encourage people to go and confirm, facilitate them, give them a ride to go to the center. You know, man tell you he wants a birth certificate, go and get it for him. And bring it for him in the village. And he wants a witness, stay outside the confirmation center and witness for everybody who comes. That's what people should be doing. Go and confirm. Go and register. You turn 18, my brother. Go and confirm. Go and register. We're not in France where as long as you turn 18, you officially on the list. You must go and avail yourself. So the focus should be not on elections. The focus should be on confirmation and registration. That's where the focus should be. When elections are called, they're called. I mean, we already know the results. I mean, but when you call it call. Yeah. You understand? I mean, you see, the vast majority of Dominicans will certainly return this party back into government. There's no question about that. But at least you can vote. You understand? You can vote. People must not look at issues that they have and project it to somebody else. So go out and confirm, register. Whenever elections are called, they are called. So let us not preoccupy ourselves with elections and so forth. So that be my sincere response to you, Matt, in regards to the question. And election observers, when elections are called, we'll determine whether we need observers or not. But let's wait for that. That is tomorrow. But today, confirm.
Let's do the first question.
Yeah, first question. So you satisfy my response to the second question. I like that.
No, I don't.
Your follow-up question to that? To my response?
Will an election be called at any time?
But where in the world, but where Mr. was government for 15 years? Did Mr. ever tell you when she's going to call election? No. Mr. James was in government, we go sunrise, as we wake up in the morning, election call on us. I mean, nobody knows, not even the members of Mr. James' cabinet knew. Michelle's, nobody knew except she. Why everybody want to ask me when you call election? I mean, that's all in history. Election called whenever it has to be called. When it's called, there's a writ to be issued and the writ will be public. The parliament will be dissolved. You understand? There's a process. There's a requirement in the constitution. You understand? But I really can't tell you whether it's in July or August or November or whenever it is. But it will be at some point at least. Well, at some point it will be. You understand? And then when it is, you will be the first to know. Okay? But seriously, they are on a more serious note and so on. I think the country should focus its energies and its resources on getting people to confirm, and people confirm it. You cannot sit at your home and not go and confirm and let the process end and then say, I didn't get confirmed. You cannot blame anybody. And we should set aside any of the distractions that are taking place out there, about electoral reform and everything. Electoral reform, that's 15 years debate, my brother. 15 years debate. We went to Parliament. People have to understand, we went to Parliament. And it was unanimously supported. Every member of Parliament, from elected members to senators, voted in favor of the legislation. So why should there be an opening of the debate again? The Parliament has spoken on behalf of the people, and the people are availing themselves to the process. That's why we should focus on, you know. But anyway, there's a report, and I think there's a report, and I don't have it with me, so I can speak to it specifically. But in respect to who is responsible for the reconstruction, the developers will be responsible for the reconstruction because the project had not been handed over to us, and even if it was handed over to us and the period of liability had not elapsed, it will still have to be the responsibility of the contractor and so on. So that has been done. That's been done in terms of report, and of course, new designs have been formulated and so forth and so forth. But the other section of the grammar school continue to be done. There's some painting taking place and
You're saying it's an official report.
well, we had commissioned a report. We had commissioned a report, an independent report. So that was commissioned and done. And some recommendations I believe were made to that and so forth. So that was done.
So that will be made available.
Yeah, we can mix an aspect of it in the Ministry of Education. We can speak to that at some point. Yeah. All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, Prime Minister, good morning to you. This month,
Yes.
The government of Dominica announced plans earlier to deal with the rising cost of petroleum products, especially gas at the pump. What immediate plans do you have in terms of taking action to deal with that situation on behalf of the people of Dominica? My other question is about management at DASPA, the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority. Has any action been taken on somebody to replace the late Ian Pinard? Ian Pinard, who died last month. We heard a lot of talk about him month before last month. April. So, yeah, any plans to at least announce somebody to take over the work Mr. Pinard did at the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority? And while I'm here, I'll just ask a third question. I'm sure Carla and Mark will not mind. I do a third question about Windsor Stadium lighting. Windsor Stadium lighting. Do you have any idea, Prime Minister, when the contractors will be able to make the facility available to the government, the lighting at Windsor?
Thank you. Regards to petroleum product.
Obviously, we recognize, all of us recognize and accept that the rise in the price of petroleum product is as a result of the Iran conflict in the Middle East. I mean, the last time I spoke to the media here, I pointed out to us that in the United States, as an oil-producing nation, has the largest man-made reserve in the world. The price increased on average by 50% in the United States. So countries that are producing oil and exporters of oil have also seen an increase in the price of the pump. And we in Dominica, we're not producers, we're consumers. We are the lower end of the supply chain. And therefore, once the price goes up in international market, we will see an impact. And in Dominica, we have a very transparent process. Interestingly, other countries have utilized the mechanism that we use to determine the prices. And every 3 weeks, there is a review of the price of the pump. You would have seen that after the war, the first time we had a review, the price went up dramatically. But you'll also recognize that it went down. So there was a decrease from $20 to $18, I think $17 something. So there's a decrease. You understand? There was a decrease in the price of diesel and gasoline. What we have said in the cabinet, and I've intimated that to the country at the last press conference, and we believe that if it comes to a particular level, we would have to find a way of cushioning the impact on the consumers. And so we are waiting for the next cycle to come for review, and the government will make a determination then as to what kind of intervention, if any, we can make. We realized during COVID time there was an increase in petrol price, and we had to subsidize the price of the pump, where we paid we paid on your behalf several hundreds of thousands of dollars to the suppliers. This thing. Because we have to be fair with the government. The government has to run the country. Because we also have to appreciate that when the price goes up, the government pays the same thing. The government doesn't have any exemptions. So automatically the cost of running the country also increases. Because we cannot tell the hospital to shut down the AC or not to go and pick an ambulance, not to pick up somebody because we are paid, or police want to go out and secure the borders of the country, we tell them no. You understand? So the country has to run. unabated. The country doesn't have the option of saying, well, I'll take the bus tomorrow morning. It doesn't have that luxury, or that opportunity rather. So we appreciate the impact of this. So we're monitoring it, and if it goes to a particular level, then certainly we will seek to intervene and to provide some cushion to the consumers. It's interesting to note also that since 2010 or 2009, LPG has had no impositions on it. So you don't pay custom service charge on LPG, and you don't pay excise tax on LPG. So the government has been, since 2009, subsidizing the price of LPG for every consumer in Dominica. Whether you're a hotel, whether you are a commercial kitchen, a restaurant, a private home. If we do not remove those taxes on this, and it's a significant amount that we have to give up every month and every year, where LPG is concerned, because literally 99% of us use LPG at our homes. You understand? And so this is, so we have been subsidizing the price of LPG for an extended period of time. And so, like we have done many times before, obviously this government has adopted an approach to be responsive, but also be responsible. And so we have to be careful in an attempt to helping the citizens that we don't cause undue damage to the government's fiscal position, where in an attempt to try to help you, we hurt ourselves and yourselves at the same token, the same way. So it's a balance with countries that are exposed to so many external shocks and realities that you have no control over, that are all costing you significantly, and you have to find solutions too. And so there has to be a balancing, that we have to make sure the government can meet its obligations, and so we can also at the same time give a cushion or relief to Dominican people, as we've done with the removal of VAT on a number of items, the removal of import duties on a number of items. And if the Ministry of Finance were to publish the comprehensive list of things that have no VAT on it or have no import duties, it's a significant number, and it's a significant amount of revenue that we're losing. I mean, just in the first 6 months after the budget, of the VAT waivers and the import duty waivers on just this list, because there are other items that have been there from existence of the VAT, since the existence of the VAT, we lost over $12 million. Not a lot, but we gave it to you, or we caused you to keep in your pocket, and we extended it from April 1 to July 31. And this should be maybe about $15 million. So in the year, we would have given up about $27 million by way of just this small waiver. And when you add all of the other interventions, school bus payments, free hospital, housing assistance, whether it's to fix your house or to build a house or to give you a house, the dramatic subsidization of the price of land. You go to Warner, we sell land one at $5, but private citizens selling it to you at $14 a square foot. We sell land at Point Michelle for $5. Private people selling it for $15 a square foot. And so it tells you the kinds of relief and support and facilitation which we give to citizens. So while you may be paying a little more there, you also have to pay attention to what you're getting on the other side. And you have to balance it off. Because at the end of the day, you may not be getting free medical care, but your grandmother is. And if your grandmother wasn't getting, you would have to pay for it. And so these are the kind of things that we have to look at. You may not have gotten a scholarship to go to university, but your niece got one. $250,000. And she doesn't owe the bank. You understand? Because the government paid everything for her. So these are the kind of things that people have to look at and to understand the extent to which the government has been investing, continues to invest in people on every walk of life. DASPA CEO, I think there's an officer in charge, right? And I leave it to the board and the ministry to examine this matter, and of course they'll provide an advice to me on this, and so I will leave it to the board to start the process of identifying a CEO, and then who will advise us on the selection. Nobody has been permanently identified, but there's a system in place for the continued management of that. But we recognize that losing Ian Pinnan was a dramatic loss, and it will take us some time to fill that void. So we understand the impact which Ian Pinnan had. On Windsor Park, obviously the lights are up. The lights are being tested. There was some successful testing. There are some additional works that need to be done, some cleaning up and some brushing up. And I believe that later this month, before the end of this month, there should be an examination of the situation and a certification of it, and then an official handing over. I want to say publicly to the Ministry of Sports and the Stadium people, I do not want any telecommunication company placing any equipment on the lights. Okay? Because that's the cause of the lights collapsing during the hurricane. They placed some equipment on the lights. The stuff wasn't designed for this, and it affected the balance, and it toppled the antennas. I don't want anybody putting anything on that $13 million lights, my brother. So I'm making this public so that everyone understands. Nobody can say they didn't know, they didn't hear. I'm saying it to public so that every Dominican can hear and can tell them when they see them.
So did I hear a handing over later this month?
Yeah, before the end of this month. I've been told by June, but sometimes visible June can be July, so I am very careful to say a precise date. But certainly the lights are up and functioning properly, and I think by and large people are satisfied with the quality based on what I've heard from independent people. So that is your question, right?
Yes. As for Curtis, Roosevelt Sports, can you give us an update on the track and field facility for the point round? Remember, the last information was that a master plan was being put in place and also meetings being held with the World Athletics and Aquatics body. Put it simply, how close are we for the commencement of construction works? Rice Sports. Regional, CARICOM heads are expected to soon hold heads of government meeting in St. Lucia from July 5 to 8. Trinidad and Tobago continues to hold its position that they will not recognize Dr. Carla Burnett as CARICOM's Secretary General when the term ends in August. Do you expect the ongoing impasse will be fully addressed and ventilated at this upcoming meeting in St. Lucia? And are there moves to have an amicable solution to the matter? And my third question is, Dominica has recently seen the suspension of United Airlines summer service and the loss of Caribbean Airlines route to the island. Should Dominicans be concerned about further reductions in airlift, and what discussions are currently underway with airline partners to stabilize and expand the service? This is split.
Yeah. Well, on the track and field, since we last spoke, a broad-based committee was appointed to oversee the implementation of this project. The Ministry of Sports continue to be in touch with the Athletics Association and its international associate with regards to their part of the financing of the athletic track, because they're financing a limited portion of it, and so forth. So that's been understood, and they're working out the final details of that understanding between them and the Ministry of Sports. Obviously, it is not the Ministry of Sports who will contract them. It is the entity that will contract them, the contractors. They've already identified a contractor to supply and to install this facility. Our responsibility is to level the area. We have identified some 11 plus acres of land, and the cabinet has in fact taken a decision on this, on the acquisition of this, where this track will be placed at Point Round. so the master plan we spoke about, there was a first conceptual drawing. The presentation was made to the cabinet on it, and of course, my hope is that the committee that has been recently appointed can engage the other stakeholders and to share with them the perspective and to get some feedback towards the finalization of that master plan. And of course, we've had conversations. Even we've gotten some very good advice from the Aquatic Association, or the association in Dominica, who have given us some very, very good advice, and we've taken that on board, which in effect would certainly even reduce the cost of the facility for the swimmers and so on. So they're very good advice coming around, all of which have been incorporated in the design master plan, and of course we will need to go back to them to show them what has been developed, to see whether it reflects that which they have suggested in the consultative process. Okay, I'm hoping that the Ministry of Sport can have a public engagement in this so that the country knows and where we are, what's outstanding, how we proceed in the etc. With regards to CARICOM and the SG, we'll see. I will see. I'll be at CARICOM, so I'll let you know what happened. You know, what can I say, you know? No, it's not, I mean, sometimes the reality is there's some things that are better said in a closed room, and, you know, so I like to approach this thing that way, you know. I prefer approach this way. So we'll see how it goes. So, of course, the chairman, incumbent chairman, will advise the community, the Caribbean community, on what the discussion and conclusion will be. But we look forward to this meeting. I mean, I think the reality is there's so many things confronting this world and this CARICOM. I think CARICOM needs to assign some time to discuss the things that really matter to the people of the region. And there are so many challenges that we're experiencing with the health of the Caribbean, the impact of climate change, the geopolitics of the world and how it's affecting every single person in our society. The need to have systems in place to create more jobs and more opportunities for people in our region. Education reform within the region, and skills development. I mean, there's so many things that we trade among ourselves. You know, how can we enhance trade? How can our fishermen sell fish in other Caribbean countries? How can our farmers sell more produce to our region and importing less from outside of the region? So there are a lot of things that Caribbean people would like us to deal with, and I'm hoping that with the time that we have in St. Lucia, we can focus on this. And so when we come out of this meeting and we have a press conference, that the content doesn't sound like it's two different Caribbean we live in. You know, the content must reflect the realities of our people, and I'm hoping that we can focus our attention on our skills and talents and our commitment to these crucial issues confronting the region. So we look forward to the discussions and so on. But I mean, we've had more contentious issues at the CARICOM, and we have come out of this. So I don't think that I would caution us in the region against focusing too much on that. You know, to me that's a secondary issue. If you were to ask me a question seriously, a secondary issue. They're more crucial and critical issues confronting us, and for us to focus our attention on that. And you know, so I think it's better for the Caribbean to give us advice as to what are the things that they want us to discuss in St. Lucia, and what they're looking forward to coming out of St. Lucia. I think this is where I think the question is better placed, so that we go discussing the people's issues, the real issues confronting the people. Suspension. I mean, the reality is, I mean, that when it comes to summertime, there's always a view by hotels and airlines that that's time to repair the hotels or to make improvements to the properties. The hotels in the Caribbean are closed for the entire month of September or August because the time you shifting now from one period to another and preparing for the winter season, and that's the reality of it and so forth. So you have this. It is left to us now to better position ourselves to get more people to come in and to be more welcoming and to ensure that we can sustain those things going forward. So you have that. So you see them with Americans. Sometimes they have daily flights. Sometimes they have 2 flights per day. You know, they look at the period of the year. But what I believe we need to share with the world a little more is that we are an all-season tourism destination. You understand? All-season tourism destination. But there are people in New York, the beach is warm, they'd rather go to Long Island and go to the beach, rather than come to the Caribbean. In Canada, they'll go, at the lakes and so on, because, it's a 1 month of sun. So you have those realities, going forward. The airlines will take decisions based on the economic or financial numbers, and so you have those things moving around. What I will say to you is that some of the existing airlines are meeting with us and discussing with us on how they can partner with us even more to fill those gaps. You understand what I'm saying? So we're having discussions with them so that existing airlines can do more routes for us, etc., etc. So those discussions, it's a fluid situation, and so forth. But so we look forward to that. United Airlines is a very important connection for us, a very, very important connection. We thank them for their service. They've been exceptional. But there's some things that we have to address too. Even the issue of the cost of fuel to the airlines. These are things that we, the government, have to look forward to addressing, especially going into the new international airport, and how we can reduce on the cost of they coming to Dominica so that it can increase their profitability. So all of the things that we need to look at and so forth. But and of course we need more hotel rooms. Yes. Yeah. Well. Yeah. You sit down there. You sit down there.
Good morning, everyone.
Tell us now.
As PM said, Caribbean Airlines is owned by the government of Trinidad. We all know that. And so since they have the new management, their strategy and focus has been different, and we respect that. But we are in discussions with other airline partners to fill in any gaps that we have. In terms of United Airlines, it was contracted for periodic service, seasonal. So the first period has ended as of April, and it will resume for the winter season in October. So the periods are from October to April. So just that we know that. If we see an increase in demand for the summer season, definitely we can extend it. And this is why we have been discussing with our stakeholders that we have to create greater demand for, because it's one thing for the government to have the access to the country, but you are responsible for keeping the planes filled. So we have to keep the load factors up. And so hopefully in the next year, because of increased demand in our destination, we'll be able to sustain more of these flights. But for the summer, anyone coming to Dominica, we have put out a travel advisory. Our main connecting hubs remain Barbados, St. Martin, and now even St. Thomas, because of the access we have given through Contour Airlines. People come to Dominica. So travelers coming to Dominica haven't been majorly impacted because of the exit of Caribbean Airlines, but we are in serious discussions with airline partners to fill in that gap, because Trinidad remains a priority market for Dominica. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, but just that.
Let's start with
Maybe I should have the first few because there's some issue. As it relates to the pre-budget consultation, was everyone invited to that? Was everyone invited to that pre-budget consultation?
this is taken care of from the Ministry of Finance, the issue.
Okay, so because the public is asking, and it's asking on behalf of the public. Prime Minister, Mr. Leonard Clinton was participated in the recent budget consultation in Roosevelt. Could you clarify in what capacity he was invited? And for the sake of transparency and inclusiveness, was the leader of the United Workers' Party, Thompson Function, also invited to participate in that consultation process? And the second question, Prime Minister, concerns continue to be raised by some stakeholders regarding public confidence in the Electoral Commission and the electoral process generally. Do you believe that the current leadership or structure of the Commission is helping or hindering public confidence in the ongoing voter registration and confirmation process, given the many errors that have been made in the reception of political interference?
The budget consultation takes a very broad engagement of different groups and individuals across the country. And the reality is, the record will show that it is under this government that there was ever consultation on budget. As a matter of fact, before I became Prime Minister of the country, not even the cabinet knew about going to the budget. The Minister of Finance will go to Parliament and read the budget, and the first time ministers will be hearing this from all governments in the history of Dominica. We've not only been engaging the whole public service and the whole parliamentary group and so forth, but we also engaging the public, have been engaging the public on a consistent basis to solicit ideas and suggestions from the public. One doesn't have to be invited to a consultation to make a contribution. If someone has a genuine concern and genuine interest, and there's nothing wrong in writing to the Minister of Finance and say, so I know the budget's coming up, we have some ideas, we're suggesting this thing, and so forth. What do we really want in Dominica? Some of us. Do we want a situation where we appear to be always in an acrimonious relationship? That once we see people who may not be otherwise supporters of the government, that there's something untoward, there's something fishy. Are those who are raising this question genuine about contributing to Dominica and working for Dominica? Was Mr. Linton your hero when he was articulated a particular view, and now that you've seen that he's come to a consultation that we have an issue with this? I mean, so we have to be careful that that we don't preach one thing, and when that which we preach has been practiced, then we have a problem with the practicing of it. And I mean, this is a small country, and I can tell you, I consult people every single day. I meet different groups of people from across Dominica every single day. At my office, at restaurants, at the residence, at my homing vehicles, in the villages, by telephone, a wide cross-section of people across the political spectrum, across the economic spectrum, across religious spectrum. You understand? And we've been engaging people, and we continue to engage people on a wide cross-section. If somebody who felt that they should have been invited, I mean, going around and barely aching about you were invited is not a solution to the problem. If you feel that you have something substantial to say or substantive to say or important to say, nothing prevents you from making a call and saying, boss, I see I wasn't invited, I'm not sure whether there will be another consultation and so on. But we have some ideas from our organization or even myself personally, and here's what I'm recommending. You understand? So this is what we need to. This is how we need to approach the situation and so on. The issue of electoral reform and all this talk about political interference and so forth. I mean, I'm not sure if I want to get involved in that kind of discussion at this time and so forth. My advice to people is that our energies and our resources should be focused on getting people to confirm. Trying to undermine the process by all kinds of surreptitious means and blatant means, it's not going to help the process, my brother. This is 15 years of talking about electoral reform. You get it, you have to accept it. Let's move on. There's nobody I am aware of who has gone to any confirmation center who has been denied an application. The commission is going out on Sundays to communities, as you see. They're at the stadium on Wednesdays. They're there now. They were there Tuesday. They were there yesterday. Avail ourselves. You understand? Give some people some money to pay the buses to come and get their birth certificate in town, or go for it for them yourself. Let's transport people. Let's give our staff the day off, half a day, like how we do election time. Go and confirm. All the private sector should be giving people 2 hours, 3 hours to go in the villages to confirm. That's what we should be doing. It's what to talk about confidence and this and confidence in that. It's not. It's to me. There's smoke screens to other things. You understand? So I don't have the time to get involved in those things. To be honest with you, we've done our part. We have provided the resources to the commission. We've passed legislation in Parliament, and it's just out of my hands. You understand? It's out of my hands. And so we have to advance the process and get people confirmed. Okay, so that would be my response to your question.
Prime Minister, you understand that if you don't have confidence in the system.
But who doesn't have confidence in the system? Who? People must not believe that they speak on behalf of people. People speak on behalf of themselves. Who? I represent more people in Dominica than anybody else, you know. And you understand what I'm saying? So speaking for who? And I mean, so go and confirm. What I do as a responsible leader of a party, I coordinate myself the party efforts to get people confirmed. I have not delegated that responsibility. You understand? And so too are my members of parliament and the agents of the party. We go, there are lots of volunteers out there who are working and moving on, and we're speaking to people and encouraging people. For me, I encourage everybody, irrespective of who you are, who you support and who you're not supporting, confirm. You understand?
Final question before we go on, Prime Minister.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah.
I was called by a lawyer, right? And it appears there's some issue going on with the issuing of the land titles in the Pillars of the area. And he was advising the constituents, the other people there, not to sign any document before they refer to their lawyer. Is there anything that we don't know about that is going on there?
Well, you should ask the lawyer what it is. I mean, you should ask the lawyer what does it mean? I mean, the government gives somebody a house that they have to pay for. All right. In most countries, this home will remain the property of the state until the person dies and is passed on to somebody else. This government has taken an extraordinary decision to facilitate Dominican citizens who have received a home at no charge to them, a title. Okay? And we have gone further and we have brought in an attorney to specifically give attention to this process. And there has been great diligence. The cabinet has approved a number of them. And just this week in cabinet, we approved another 15 or 16 to process. And progress being made. It's interesting, you know, Matt. The same lawyer were the ones who were telling them, government gave you a house and no title. Now that the people getting the title, they're telling the same people, do not sign the document to receive the title. All of them are going wrong. Oh, we fool the people. Same thing they were saying when I said to people up in the Savannah and Dubik that we will build homes for them. People question the truthfulness of my commitment. Then when we started building the homes, they said, oh, where you get the money? It was finished. The money going to stop. You can't figure it. That's too big a project. It was completed by the grace of God. And then we said to them, and other parts of the country that we will grant you titles. Oh, this is a Skerrit line that never happened. And then every time they get opportunity to speak political nonsense, they say, oh, no titles for them. Where your title? They give you a house, the house not yours. They're going to put you outside. Now that the people are getting the titles, which you're required to sign as an acknowledgement of it to the government system. So the process is completed. You understand? It has gone through the process in law, and then you sign acknowledging the documentation. Once you sign acknowledging documentation, then it brings to an end the government's responsibility. The title now belongs to you in an undisputed manner, protected by the provisions of the Constitution. That is your property, that you can bequeath to your children. Now the government is keeping to its promise to the people of Dominica. And some stupid lawyer tell them, don't sign. Don't sign. I mean, come on. Come on. Don't sign what? Have you seen the document tell them don't sign? They don't sign say, I receive from the Government of Dominica a title in my name. Don't sign that. What are they signing? No, anybody is free to go and consult the lawyer they wish, you know. You understand? They're free to consult the lawyer they wish. But if you're giving somebody advice, you must have the documentation before you to know whether the advice you're giving to the people makes legal sense or even has common sense for that matter. And so we must stop using political gimmicks in this country to confuse the people and deny them of opportunities. And this is something happening in the electoral reform. Instead of political leaders and people in the community encouraging people to go and confirm, they're creating in their minds confusion and dissuading them from going to confirm. And then they will say the system was wrong. Political interference. There's no confidence in this, no confidence in that. You understand what I'm saying? Let us move forward in this country. If everything that we do, we have something to do. You build an airport, people want to stop it. You build a marina, they want to stop it. You build a hotel, they want to stop it. You build a road, they want to stop it. You got plant trees in the gardens, they want to stop it. You build a library and a recording studio and a place where children can go and dance ballerina and local dances. They stop it. Everything that we want to do, we want to stop it in Dominica. And then we go somewhere and we say, well, Dominica should have that, Dominica should have this, Dominica should have that. But talk about things we deny.
Right.
You know, so,
yeah, my last set of questions. Prime Minister, has a decision been reached?
And by the way, my response is not direct at you, eh? Okay, so I just wanted to, it's not personal to you. Then. Yes, sir.
Yes, has a decision been reached on a way forward for the Arab culture? So I see my colleagues are laughing. So,
Yeah.
That's
an important question, it's okay.
Right. An administrative building for Portsmouth has been discussed over the last 15 years, or probably more. That building would bring services closer to the people of the North. Is the government still interested in that project? And maybe the final one, or maybe the last two. The government has also announced income support for the communities hit by the trough system a few months ago in the the east and northeast. Has the government begun making that income support available to these farmers and others in the community? And the name Lennox Linton was mentioned a little while ago. I just want to bring it up again for a short while. The government of Dominica, you also Prime Minister, you've said that anyone interested in the development of Dominica, government is prepared to embrace that vision. Does Lennox Linton meet that criteria?
On the question of on the question of the Iraq also culture, as promised, I met with the group of individuals who wrote to me. That is Mrs. Anita Bully, Mr. Raymond Lawrence, Mr. Jackson, and Miss Augustus. And I have to remember, she's still a magistrate. She told me last time I said she was a former magistrate, so she's still a magistrate. Right, I met with them, and we had some very constructive discussions, very, very useful engagement. And so it has brought the government's perspective, it has brought a better appreciation from the government perspective of what we need to do where that aspect of culture is concerned. And so it was very, very passionate engagement. And what we've agreed on is that grouping, along with others, will serve as an oversight working group to oversee the implementation of certain actions and policies of the government in respect to culture. And we have agreed that we will proceed. They have suggested, and we've agreed, that we proceed with the refurbishment and renovations of the ARAC. And while we also look at the construction of an additional facility, of course, as you know, the Chinese government has made a commitment to build a cultural center for Dominica. So we will proceed with that. I intend to pay a visit to the site with them so that we can have appreciation of how we're going to go forward. So we'll proceed with the refurbishment of the ARC based on the advice of this highly experienced and trained person and the foremost people in the country really on culture. So if they tell me that I can't say nothing else about it, so I had to go with them and I agree with them on that position. So I want to thank them publicly for their sincerity. And I think this is how we have to go operating things. We see a problem in the society, something that the government is not doing that the government should be doing, or something that the government is doing that you're happy about, write to us. We'll respond. We'll meet with you. We'll hear from you. We may not always agree, but at least we can have a conversation. At least you can get an opportunity to express yourself. The government doesn't have to agree with you or disagree with you, but you reach out, we will meet, and I'm happy that we met with them, and I think we all left the meeting, in my view, in a better frame of mind than when we came to the meeting, and so the country is better off for that. The administrative building in Portsmouth, certainly, I met with the mayor, I think earlier this year, on a team, and we've discussed this, and they have indicated that this continues to be a priority for them, and of course for the entire North. We in the government will have to discuss the financing of it. At the time we were going to do it under the CBI program, and so forth. But it's an absolutely important edifice in Portsmouth. There is no question about it, and I think that we have to move ahead. And I have some ideas of the financing that I'll discuss with the Minister of Finance and the Cabinet on. But we have to move ahead with this administrative building. We can't have the town of Portsmouth and have all government services scattered all over Portsmouth. I think in the second decade of the 21st century, that has to be addressed and addressed in a definitive manner. I'm disappointed that it was not done back then. We had developed a wonderful plan. The architecture was befitting of town of Portsmouth. You know, but with different things happening, COVID and all these things, and not a conclusive agreement on what the design should look like and so on. So we lost a lot of time on this. Some people say you were a modern building, others say it's a classical, someone say Mediterranean. So you wasted a lot of time on that consultative period, and we missed the boat, unfortunately. But we're back on it, and certainly it's a project that you will see coming on stream. There's a question on interesting that you guys asked me. You guys mentioned Leonard Clinton name. There, you never mentioned Thomas of Fountain name.
I did.
You mentioned his name?
I did.
When in passing.
Why wasn't
He not invited? But there was no substantive question. Okay, I think that. The reality is, Curtis, I tell people, I got into politics, my brother, with no axe to grind. There's nobody my age who has made more sacrifices in politics than I have. I came to serve the country. I didn't come to be a minister, I didn't come to be prime minister. I came to serve the country, I came to make a contribution to my constituents and the people in Vickers and Penville and Thibault and to Dominica. I went to school, I didn't get any money from the government. I came back, I went to teach at PSS and then State College and so on. So I have no political axe to grind. I don't hold any grudge or anybody or any ill feeling towards anybody. Politics, and you realize my politics, I never attack people. I will always respond. But when I respond, and as soon as I respond only once, you know, my brother, and it can be hard hitting. You understand? I'm not averse to anybody expressing the displeasure of the government or what they do not like or what they like. People have a right to express themselves. You understand? People will have a right to express themselves. They may be the wrong way, maybe the wrong language. This is why I always maintain that this thing called different political parties and these small countries and that confuses people and so on. If I had my way in Dominica, I would have embedded in the Constitution that the country should always maintain a government of national unity. From a national unity that goes to the Parliament and approves a national development plan for the country, and it becomes an act of Parliament. And for it to be changed, you have to go back to Parliament to change. And so we utilize the skills and talents available to us for the greater good of the country. But with an important caveat, that those who are coming forward to offer themselves must do so sincerely and with the national interest of Dominica. Not selfish reasons, but the greater good of the country. And if we are to really achieve our desired objectives in the country, what we want Dominica to be like, we cannot continue fighting ourselves. We'll fight ourselves, among ourselves, as indigenous Dominicans, and indigenous meaning those of us who were born in our country, and others will come and take the bone from us, and we'll all be left hungry because we're fighting ourselves, rather than we working together to build this country, to expand its economic fortunes, and everybody will benefit from what's happening in the country. And so anybody can fit into that rubric. It is left for the individual to make a determination on this. If Mr. Linton or anybody has a suggestion or idea and they want to put forward to the country and it makes sense, why should we say no to it if it makes sense and it is presented in good faith? You understand? So trying to get me and Labour Party out of government is not the solution to anybody's challenge. It is for us to unite the country. That will be to the benefit of everybody. And we're all working together for the greater good of the country. And each of us must understand, we must not believe that we can always get our way, because this is a country that belongs to everybody. So I think that we have to be careful that we don't continue to give our children and succeeding generations the impression that we cannot work together or we cannot agree to disagree. And you've seen my style of politics in Dominica, where we've embraced everybody. We've had the leader of the Freedom Party join the Labour Party. We've had the deputy leader of the Workers' Party join the Labour Party. You understand? and we've had strident opposition characters, elements, becoming candidates for the party. This is not about me or about the Labour Party, it's about the country. And I've always maintained publicly that the Labour Party doesn't have a monopoly on ideas. We don't believe that we're the only one to know what Dominica needs and what we need to do to solve Dominica's problems. This is why we've always adopted a very engaging consultative process. 90%, 95% of the consultation I do are not visible to the Dominican public. It's for me not about a show. No cameras, no video recording. I have a conversation with people. And I write what everybody says myself. Because I want to process what people are saying and to reflect on what they say. And I can tell you that the consultation that we've been having over the last few weeks, a number of the very progressive policy suggestions that come up, they will find themselves in the budget address. They must find themselves in the budget address. Not in the language that the people suggested, but they have to find themselves in the budget address. The budget has to be reflective this year, as always, on the aspirations of the people of Dominica. The aspirations of the people of Dominica. And we have to do so. And so, at the next election, after the next election, you will certainly see a government of national unity.
Well, I guess. Sorry,
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay, because I was going to ask you.
I thought that was the last question. That's why I went.
Oh.
But go ahead. But I yield to the media people.
About the 2026, physically, and what measures have been considered to improve the government's ability to control initiatives. But I guess you expounded a bit on that. But you have not also stated when will the budget be used.
Yeah. Sure.
Just before you answer that, Minister of Health gave some, he spoke some ideas and some things that have been done. But sadly, I did not hear him say anything about the constant up and down the elevator, which is the elevator at the hospital, which is a major issue. I've been there, I've seen them running and the elevator is down, etc. So what plans to get that, ensure that elevator is always up and running, and also the former children's ward at the hospital, it's an eyesore. When you move across there, I don't want to say carrying, but when you move across there, it's just there in the dilapidated.
The old building on the other side.
Yes, PM, and it's just there. What is going to be done to try to get it going?
Okay. But we've taken note of those points. And of course, the Minister will respond to you at some point. I want to thank you very much. The date for the budget will be set soon, and we'll inform the country of that. But just to say, my final point to you is, on this question. My final point to you on this question, and I hope I won't provoke any undue discussion or speculations on this, which I see a lot of speculations going on. But the situation within the United Workers' Party now is reflective of a systemic and structural problem, and one of poor leadership. And if you cannot keep your party united, there is no way you can keep the government united. You understand? It requires a certain leadership quality, and which does not exist currently. You understand? And just to say to you finally on this point, that finally, I I have known Lennox Clinton for more than 40 years, or maybe all my life and so forth. Lennox Clinton's father used to live in Bakers as a school teacher, right? And so his family and my family have known each other for all those years, more than 70 plus years. You understand? So I have known Lennox Clinton all my life, you know, going forward. So on a personal level, we've never been enemies. On a political level, we disagreed. You understand? But on a personal level, this is what I'm saying. On a personal level, I have no problem with anybody. We may have political differences. And I say to my party every single time that the Labour Party must always be seen to be a party for everybody, not just for a few of us. Because a few of us can never build the country. The party must be a party for every single person. When I leave, they can close it to other people. But as long as I'm there, the door is wide open. And I said, in the Labour's house, there are many rooms. And if it wasn't so, I wouldn't have told you so.
Is that the message you send in PM?
Send it to
Because
everyone.
I'm operating with disagreed. Operating with political disagreed. So we don't agree.
And this was the press conference of the Prime Minister of Dominica, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, dated June 10th, 2026. This live was brought to you by MO News, and we thank you all for viewing.